You see the ESRI released a report yesterday.
Mhm.
First time in the history of the state that people, and it's funny that they specified our generation. They went people born in the late 80s to early 90s, like, oh, that's us. Will can expect a lower standard of living than their parents. I was like,
How does that even happen?
the first time in the state, 100 years. Like, so basically, if you grew up in the area, like, unless your parents managed to give you a better life than they had, like, you just grew up the same as your parents, you won't be able to live in the same area. Like, you'll have to go down. You go back one space is the chance card we've drawn by being born in this generation. And like,
Well, it's funny because remember 2012, we were like the golden age. This is what it's all about. Little did we know what it meant being that age then.
yeah, well, that's
Finishing
just because we had
school.
discovered alcohol for the first time. Thought this is the best time there's ever been. No, actually, statistically, it's the worst.
Yeah.
So yeah, like unless your parents invested in crypto, you're fucked.
They definitely didn't.
You can't live in the same area as your parents grew up with the same income that they had at your age.
Oh man. Sure, they were buying houses for like 15 quid back in the day.
That's
Seems
why we're in this mess.
like.
That's exactly why. They should never have been allowed to do that.
Anyway, back to the distraction.
Yeah, anyways, that's not what we want to hear. You know, there's enough of that. Yeah, right.
No, honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense. But listen, I've been on that road before.
Nonsense. Talking nonsense. Why should we accept somebody talking nonsense? Like, what would you say? Just why are you talking nonsense about us? Why are you talking rubbish?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a No Nonsense podcast with Cahill and Will. We're here in the dying embers of this Premier League season, in the season of our Lord 2021. It ended exactly like very representative of the year. Like City went months on end winning games, and then they lose a game, and that's how they win it. Like the most anticlimactic end to the
Yeah.
season, just so fitting. And also, it was because another team lost because the schedule was so grueling and so demanding that a team that cost multiple millions to put together couldn't deal with this. That's how ridiculous the schedule was.
And the schedule change came from protests to do with the billionaire owners who were taking money from the club.
Yeah, exactly. It was just it had everything. It had everything that symbolized this season: anticlimacticness, just runaway teams, protests, ridiculous schedules on top of each other. Millionaire. It's like I say, a team spending for millions of pounds couldn't deal with this. It's like, doesn't that seem like a bubble bursting? Like, we've got the point where we invested so much money, we still can't do it.
When Man United are like, we couldn't possibly field a second 11.
Yeah.
What are Burnley going to do if that happens to them? Like,
Well, this is the thing. It's worse the further down you get. I just don't see how it continues. But I mean, people have been probably saying that for the last 10 years with the increase in wages and the increase in ticket prices and everything else. So I mean, who knows? Maybe it'll just continue expanding as a bubble forever and ever, and we'll keep watching. We'll keep tuning in.
That's usually how bubbles work.
They never burst. It's always a soft landing. I'm pretty sure. There's never a crash. There's never been a crash in history, I don't think.
No.
But yeah, so City lost to Chelsea, as we discussed the last game. But it didn't matter because United, with 3 games in a week,
4 games in 7 days, I think, is the schedule.
4 games, 7 days, and on the second game, they fielded their second 11 to Aston Villa, who won 3-1. Was it? I think.
No, they beat Aston Villa and then they lost to Leicester. Yeah,
they beat Aston Villa 3-1. That was the full team. Then they were in the conundrum of, and we talked about this in the last one.
Yeah,
lose to Leicester or lose to Liverpool. As it turns out, they did both.
Well, you see, when West Ham lost to Everton, then top 4 was secured for United, and I think even third is secured. So then it was a case of who gives a shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you could see it in the Leicester game, especially. They couldn't have cared less, even though it was the B teams, just still walking around. And then the Liverpool game again, it was just there was no real sense of this is important at all.
Yeah, it's a theory we've kind of looked at before of like the winning mentality, and it's oh well, this game doesn't matter, but that game doesn't matter. But in terms of like the atmosphere and winning games and coming off
Yeah.
pitch thinking, yeah, we did the job well there, that winning mentality coming into a final is probably more important than how many points you have in the league or it's
Yeah.
all relevant. It's like they've lost. I retweeted there from the account is they have lost more games at Old Trafford in 48 hours than this, and like a list of seasons in recent memory. I was like, that's not good for the morale of a team going into a final. And look, people have been saying that, and we were saying jokingly saying like how disrespected the Europa League is by the English media. Like, United may win this global competition, or else it's been a shite season. It's like it's not an easy feat to go and win any final, no matter what it is. Like, you might think it's a Mickey Mouse competition, but like honestly, it's not a good look for United to lose to Leicester, a top 4 contender, who are kind of similar to your level, and then lose to Liverpool, the biggest game of the season, and then also having Harry Maguire a doubt for us. It was a strange game. I will say I was training there. I was back. I'm back on the pitch myself. Train. So I missed the pre-game of it. What was it like? With the protests and the Gary Neville show.
It definitely was. There was a sense of Gary Neville was still talking, saying the same stuff, but it did seem like Sky was kind of just, all right, and then what, Gary? And it's just the same shit again. Gary did say a good point though. He said, when the outside of your stadium looks like a prison, something's definitely gone wrong.
Yeah, I did see those quotes going around. I thought, yeah, that does make for bad, like, because it was always the helicopter. I saw the clips afterwards on Twitter, all the helicopter circlings of Old Trafford and like lines of policemen and stewards to keep the fans out, to literally keep the fans out.
Well, this is what I was thinking. What's going to happen when fans are back in the stadium? Like, how are we going to stop it then?
Well,
I would guarantee most of those protesters are season ticket holders. Like,
yeah, but was there 75,000 people there outside the stadium?
That's true. Yeah, there's a lot of tourists as well, I'd imagine, going to those games.
And that's been a criticism of all the top 6 clubs, that they've transformed into tourist clubs.
Yeah.
And like when the fans come back, there's probably 20,000 people outside Old Trafford.
No, there was a lot.
There's a lot,
but definitely more in the first protest, not as much in the second one.
Yeah. So if the rest of the stadium is full of people who are from Ireland going over,
me,
like from you going over, like people are there like, yeah, I know, I'm with you, but I did spend a lot of money to get an Airbnb, and this is kind of my weekend away, and I want to watch the game. If it's more people watching the game and there's like a few protesters outside, I mean, a few protesters never stopped millionaires. You know what I mean? You need like,
they have to stop the game every time. Like,
it has to be like where all the fans are back in the stadiums except for Old Trafford. They're outside with flares and signs, and then it's like, oh, this is a bad look. But if most people in the stadium, a few empty seats here and there, doesn't matter. We'd move people from the top down to the bottom. No one will see. It's hard to know.
I don't know if you saw the Leicester game. They had the same police presence, but there was no protest planned. But it was just in case. There was like loads of police outside and barricades and stuff.
Yeah.
So it seems like this is just the plan for Old Trafford for the future.
Yeah.
They're never getting a chance to do this again. Like,
well, when they came in the stadium the last day, people were like, how did this happen? How did this, it's like, because it's the same thing of like when you rob a shop or a convenience store in America. It's like the guy working there is like on $2 an hour. Like, he's not going to put his life on the line for whatever. So like the stewards, like, you're getting overwhelmed by massive angry people. Like, I just work here, man. Right? I'm not affiliated with the Glazers. This is literally just a job for me in the middle of the pandemic. I need to get mauled by an angry mob here for the sake of something I don't care about. So like that's why they have the guards in there. They're the police officers, the bobbies in there who are paid by the state to protect and serve. That's how it gets that point where it looks like a prison because it's like you need actual armed guards outside to keep them out.
I don't know if you saw as well during the week. It was a bad week for United
Mm.
because all that stuff happened. And also the manager of the women's team, who I think were like top of the league, like they're doing well, resigned because of lack of training facilities for the women, and the women had no toilets
Ooh.
in the training ground. So like while and I think one of the Glazers, like fucking right hand men or whatever, gave like a speech to Sky News in Old Trafford before the Liverpool game.
Oh, the
and he was like,
communications guy. I saw that, man.
Man, so tone deaf. Just don't say anything.
I saw he was speaking. It's funny because like he's the communications guy. It's like
It was awful.
normal people don't talk like that. Like he's like we're continuing the dialogue. We're improving the fan day experience. It's like this is not a day out at Disney World. Fan day experience, customer experience, all that stuff. It's all like businessy marketing speak.
Yeah.
And it's like you're making people more detached when you say words like, "Look, we're continuing the dialogue." Like no one says the word dialogue unless you're getting fired. You know what I mean?
Saying stuff like that as well when Old Trafford has a massive leak in the roof.
Yeah.
And like all the area around it is a shithole. So
But
it's just
are you saying that the
ridiculous.
managers haven't been backed, Will, in the transfer market? Because Graham Souness is. He was at it again. What is he talking about?
He does not get it. I'm convinced. Like he has no
The
idea.
first time I thought he was taking the piss. Now I think he doesn't get it. Now I think he just has no
doesn't
idea
get
what
it.
he's talking about.
He's just. I think though it's just he's so focused on football that he doesn't really give a shit about the business side or the club side even. It's just all about the games. Like,
but if I was like, well, we are talking about the Champions League now, Will. Like, I don't care about Champions League. I want to talk about United's under 12 team. Like, yeah, but like that's not the show, Graham. I mean, like surely they say like we're going to talk about the protest games. Like, yeah, but on the football side of things, like we're not talking about that. We're trying to give a rounded view of this. There's protest outside. The game is going on, Graham. He just continues with this. But on the football, it says the manager's been backed. You can't say they haven't been backed. It's like nobody is saying that. Nobody is saying that.
and as well, I don't know if you caught when he said, he's like, even last summer, he's like Cavani, Van de Beek, backed. Cavani was a free transfer and he was like 35 on deadline day, and he was a total panic because they wouldn't pay for. Remember the Sancho like delay, and then they're like, oh, we can't afford him. Who knew?
Yeah, it was, and I think some people were saying he was one of the worst signings because at the time was like the guy who nobody wanted. You picked on the deadline day. That's a bad signing, lads. On paper, that's like he's obviously still has juice left in the tag, or whatever. But I mean, on the face of it, it wasn't like, oh yeah, these guys are really. They were looking for like a cut price deal on one of the best talents in Europe, and then didn't get it. Can't believe it didn't work.
Who's free?
Yeah, what's on the free market like? It's like who?
Well, they got turned down by Ousmane Dembele, who I think had played like 10 games for Barcelona
at the time. Yeah, he was really on the outs, and they were trying to get a cut price deal for him. It's like, yeah, they want me, don't.
Him. Yeah,
but yeah, it's I feel like a bit like the Irish government, where they're kind of like waiting for the vaccine to just kind of happen. There's no like plan besides that. Like the Man United are waiting for the fans to come back and for forget about this. They're just hoping that there's no other plan. They're not going to actually fix any of the things. Like we're just hoping that something else solves it for us. You know what I mean? It's not.
I wonder will they buy someone in the summer just as like that'll keep them happy. Get Sancho, like, because I'd imagine his price has gone down to what they were paying last year. But like, if they don't buy anyone in the summer, that's just the ultimate. Like, we really don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, even all of this didn't make us change our minds.
I think though, when they see United come for Sancho, they'll say, "Well, it's not going to be less than it was last year where he turned you down. He's not gotten worse. He's still played."
Yeah. The United tax.
And I think Haaland is signaling that he wants to stay at Dortmund for at least another year.
Well, I think that's because no one wants to pay his stupid wages.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think they need to sell Sancho. I don't know. I mean, if they got Harry Kane in, it would definitely improve the team. There's no doubt. But would that be enough?
They gave Cavani a new contract for a year.
Yeah.
So I think that rules out any striker for the next year.
I don't know, man. Like, you look at the City team, like we were saying before, the City and Chelsea, the big squads. Like, is that now the new template? Like, you need to have 3 players in every position, and not just players, like, really good players that would make other people's teams to compete in the Champions League. Like, if that's what it comes down to, like, maybe you need Harry Kane as well as Cavani, as well as Rashford,
definitely.
as well as Greenwood, as well as Sancho. Like, look at that City team. The depth, it's unmatched by anybody else. I mean, they might win the Champions League this year. So what are you going to do?
That's the move, yeah.
But then we'll see how much the Glazers back, in back their manager. When he says, I need 3 players every position, like, fuck, no, you don't.
Yeah, if that becomes the norm, they are out of here.
Yeah, that might be of all the protests, it's just the fact that they can't compete anymore without spending more money. So, okay, yeah, we're going to cut losses here. Losses.
We can't use any more of the club's money. We're all out.
Yeah, the second they put any of their own money in, it's like, no, we're not.
This is ridiculous.
But yeah, that I suppose probably brings us to on the pitch. Like we were saying in the last time the game was protested, it was the most exciting one in years because usually the games were shite. This game was great, and it was because
really.
The defending was just atrocious. It was end to end when they both kind of wanted to win that game. Like I say, they were missing Harry Maguire, United at the back,
big time,
which brought in Eric Bailly, who continued his poor performance from the Roma game, just playing completely erratically. I don't know what he was thinking.
Like, he's insane, man. You never know what he's going to do. And it's not like in the good way you like on a football pitch. It's in the like, well, why is he doing that? Like, no, that's the opposite of what I want you to do. That's always the case with him. He's always just in the wrong place. Flying up the pitch, flying into the box with a tackle. And
also another reinstatement of our once fabled segment, the right back power rankings. Another live face off between Alexander-Arnold and Wan-Bissaka. Both had good games. I think Wan-Bissaka had a good game.
Yeah.
But I think Alexander-Arnold was just let do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like exactly how teams are kind of figured him out. It's like, don't let him get in the ball, kind of cutting in the middle and just like spraying past. Like, somebody go to him. Like, they needed to double up on that wing, and they just let Liverpool use their best weapon, which is Alexander-Arnold spraying perfect balls and through balls. And he had a great game, but I think United let him do that.
I wonder, is it just down to the fact that, because I think Maguire is pretty vocal, I wonder, is it just like no one's talking to anyone at the back when he's not there? Because, like, I couldn't imagine Bailly getting on to people. Wan-Bissaka seems very quiet as well. Shaw's
Wan-Bissaka's on the far wing. You know what I mean? It's more down to Solskjaer, where before the game, or even at half time, said that guy's killing us. Like, he's having he's had a terrible season, and we're making him look like he's a search for the right back. Wan-Bissaka, are you seeing this, man? You know, like the manager has to say, look, this has happened down that wing, and it happened all game. Like, but I mean, it just wouldn't. He never stopped, and they kept cutting to. And actually, remember we were saying before that Tyler was flying the banner for Wan-Bissaka. They must have got on to him. He was really flying the banner for Trent Alexander-Arnold, coming himself over Trent Alexander-Arnold. And they kept cutting to Southgate in the stands. It was a real like push out the boat for Trent here.
Southgate has like a notepad with all the names on it, and the names are constantly written, then crossed out again, then written, then crossed out again. And it's like fills up the whole page. He's been using the same one all season.
Yeah. I did see a tweet, a response to something from Sky Sports. I was like, Luke Ayling's been the best right back in the league, and no one's giving him any respect. I was like,
give it up.
Come on, man. He's a top 6 club. Forget about it. It's only top 6 people here, and barely even that, Yeah. But he has to go, doesn't he, to the Euros after that performance?
Yeah, man, because he can play a right wing. Like he's so good.
And also, I mean, I know it's like he's great going forward, but defensively is where he lacks. It's like, is Kyle Walker that much better defensively? Is Reece James, who they play as a wing back, and then they also play Azpilicueta as a third centre back to cover him defensively. It's like, if he's the best attacking option, the rest of them aren't like, bar Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah.
The rest of them aren't defensive, units either. So I mean, he has to go. Like,
and as well, he's good at set pieces. Like that fucking ball he put in was savage. Or was it Firmino's header? Another
English player who might be thinking of getting on the plane, maybe didn't have a great game. Dean Henderson.
Oh man, it seems like
honeymoon period is over for Dean, huh?
Him and De Gea they're both the same. It's just They're gonna.
No, I think they're quite different. I think they're like they fill gaps. You know what I mean? Like,
But both
the-
of them, it's like both of them are half a really good keeper.
yeah, yeah, and they're paying them the same wages though.
If we could play both of them at once and maybe
Yeah.
take away one of the strikers.
Yeah, that like if you could combine them, that would be great because he's like this confident guy who comes from crosses.
Yeah,
Dean
yeah.
Henderson is,
Good with the ball,
and
like
then
good at running out, a bit of a sweeper. But
and then De Gea is just the master shot stopper.
Yeah.
Who maybe fails a bit in high crosses and stuff like that.
weak, yeah.
I mean, it's tough to kind of because he's been so good for so long, De Gea.
Yeah.
You know, it's tough to kind of say he doesn't have it anymore.
No, it's just
But you think he can get back to where he was, or is it time for him to go? And is it time for Dean Henderson to go and get someone properly good in?
see, I think it'll end up being Dean for a long time because like he's an academy player and he's good. He in most games he's pretty solid. But oh yeah, it's just having a keeper that's prone to flapping is not good. Like you're gonna
No.
always drop points. Like remember last season, De Gea was awful. Like every second game he'd make a mistake. So yeah, I don't know what the best way to go. And I think De Gea is the highest paid player in the league, so that probably comes into it too.
Not a good look when you're not starting for your own team, is it?
Yeah.
What the last one was the worst one because it looked like he just got his positioning all wrong.
Yeah.
Like it genuinely looked like he didn't know where the goal was because he left a gaping hole on the left side for
Yeah.
Sal to just go. Okay,
I'm gonna kick
guess
it
I'll just kick
there."
with my good foot in my good side,
Yeah.
and then he went, oh shit! I thought I was closer to the middle there. Like that's just like you either come out or you stay and you show him the smaller side. He stayed and showed him the biggest side of the goal. It was like that's his left foot. He's gonna put it in. So like that was obviously bad one. The other one that for me, your second one,
Bobble,
you know, he
yeah.
was driven at him and he kind of chests it. You know, they say try and chest it to the sides.
Mm.
That wasn't a bad one. I don't think. It's just like when you concede 4 goals, they all look bad. You know,
And that is the one, like that is the type of save De Gea is fucking somehow booting that out to the fucking for a corner at close range. Like he's really good at stopping shots like that. So
yeah, you think it goes past him, then he lifts his left heel and it ricochets out, and you get a counter attack from it.
Yeah.
So it's just like that's the thing. If you can combine them both, like it would be.
Well, you know what's good? Maguire is out, and now both of the keepers are in bad form going into the Europa League final. That's good stuff.
Yeah. And is Maguire definitely out?
Well, he was on crutches for Liverpool in the crowd of the Liverpool game, and so like I think it's a case of he might be back, but will he be good? Like he might be
Like
full.
Mbappe against City. It's like he'll be there, but not really.
And that's not what you
the
want from your
full-
centre back. Like
Although if his main attribute, and I think it is organising the defence,
yeah,
you know, that could be enough. Because like they looked, like I said, they looked rudderless at the back there, didn't they? They looked completely lost without him there.
yeah, and like couldn't get the ball out of their own box nearly. But when he's there, I think as well other teams just give him. It's they give him the bit of respect and that they'll drop back a bit, knowing what he can do. So when he's not there, you're like, these boys are not going to get past us. Stay up with them.
Yeah, press them because they won't be able to beat the press. So, I mean, but I mean what's the word? The implications of the result is that the top 4 race is now like it should be like it should have been done when Chelsea were going to definitely beat Arsenal. That should be all right. That's the end of that chapter there, folks. But no, Arsenal somehow win, and now Liverpool win to put Leicester and Chelsea under pressure. And it's like,
how did they
and then Tottenham are still in it, and everything are still. It's like, how is this still going on? I mean, and I was looking at the way that it's probably going to fall, and that the FA Cup winners they get a Europa League spot unless both them are in the top 4, and that place goes down to 6th. And then this year, the winners of the League Cup, which were City, they don't need the UEFA Conference League.
Yeah.
But the 7th place team now gets that. And that's where Arsenal come in. That's where we're still fighting for this. You know, we're back.
Well, I couldn't believe. I looked at the table. Arsenal are a point behind Tottenham. It's very much still on.
St. Tottenham's Day. Don't cancel yet, folks.
That'd be
a cringy celebration of us being ahead of Tottenham. It's still on the cards.
You have to think if you're like a die-hard Tottenham fan, if that happens, this is like the worst season of your life.
This has probably been one of the worst seasons in a long time.
Yeah.
I'd say, because it's the hope that kills you.
Yeah.
You think they were competing for the league. Kane and Son could not stop scoring and assisting for each other. You have Jose Mourinho, the winningest manager ever.
They spent money in the summer for once.
You had a decent team. You had a solid defense. You were looking good in the League Cup, and now you fast forward a few weeks and you've lost that final.
Yeah.
Embarrassingly, you may not even make the UEFA Conference League.
Yeah.
And Harry Kane is being talked about on Sky Sports every week that he's going to Man United. It's just like, how have they got to this? Like, this should have been their year.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was really all over when Jose Mourinho lost to that man who replaced the guy who got arrested the day before.
Oh, the Slavia Prague manager for embezzling €3 million from the club.
There was no coming
and
back.
Still somehow manager. That's how well run that club was.
And they won.
They were 3-0 up in the last 4-0 or something like that? Something ridiculous. Like, it was just. I remember Son's injury afterwards, and Lloris's just like,
oh man,
as if they had lost the Champions League final. Like, the season is over, lads. It's like, oh no, it is over. Believe me. If you're in that dressing room, you'd know this season is fucked. We fucked it. That was not even the beginning of the end. That was the complete end.
Yeah.
Everything else has just been an aberration that didn't even happen. It's just been.
I think that was when the Kane rumors started. Pretty much the day after.
Well, he was like, "Well, what do they do now?" If because the League Cup, the Europa League, even though we say it's disrespected, it's still one to point to.
It gets you Champions League as well.
And you're in Champions League as well, yeah. And that was during like the slide as well. That was like when they were not like going to compete for the title at all. And then it was like top four looked a bit out there. So it's like Europa League could still be a good. Oh no, that's gone too. That's also gone. And it's gone. But yeah, I mean, where is it? I'll bring up the tables because I mean, it's hard to keep track because it was done. It was done and dusted.
Yeah.
It was going to be Leicester, Chelsea in some order. West Ham had fallen away. They had been too long without Declan Rice. Lingard's purple patch had ended. It was all over. But I mean, now we're all back in it. We're all have a little bit of hope again.
See, Lingard got Player of the Month.
And see who got Manager of the Month.
Ollie, was it? Or who was
the coward Steve Bruce. And that's deserved. In hindsight, he should get Manager of the Month for every month, managing that team and keep them in the Premier League. Honest to God.
Yeah, I see
the deal he's had to deal with.
I see a lot of Newcastle fans like giving out wanting him gone. They don't know how good they have it.
Yeah, poor Steve Bruce, man. I mean, just deserved it. He's big smile on his face. It's like he must be a positive person to be still smiling at Newcastle. Honest to God.
Yeah.
The bane for his head. Yeah, so Liverpool now are currently on 60 points. 35 games played. Chelsea on 64. But Liverpool have a game in hand. They have 36 games played. Chelsea do. So, and Liverpool's games are West Brom, Palace, and someone else.
It's Brighton. It's someone else that they should be beating, isn't it?
Well, Chelsea have to play Leicester twice in like 3 days.
And Leicester are going to want to win the FA Cup. So, I don't know what they do. Like, do they go full whack in the league as well? And
well, this is the thing now. If you like, it's not obviously either or. They could do both. But I mean, if you could offer to Leicester the FA Cup or top four, there's many different people with interests at that club. The owners want Champions League. Yeah, I mean, because the owners aren't subject, as we've seen, to fans, so they don't really have to care about what fans think. That's the manager and the players' fault. They want money. They want to get the Champions League. That's where the money is. FA Cup is great, but I think it's like 200,000. I think is the prize money.
Yeah, it's something small.
And they've won the league.
Yeah,
they won the league. We don't care about trophies. We've ascended to top club money making status. We don't need titles.
Top four is probably top four gets you a lot of money. A lot of times, teams that get top four stay around top four because they can improve every year that they're in the Champions League from the money. So.
Well, this is it. I mean, 15-16 was a flash in the pan, and it was whatever circumstances and other teams playing badly. We're now 6 years on. They're still there. If they can get top four again this year, it's like you're starting to establish yourself as a consistent big club, and the money that comes with that is important to maintaining and getting in, signings like Fofana and Tielemans, other players like that, it gets easier as the more you compete. If they fall out top four, the FA Cup doesn't bring anybody there. Sorry, what?
Last year as well, like they bottled top four. They should have got top four pretty easily.
Yeah.
Like they dropped, wasn't it 16 points ahead of United with 3 months to go?
Yeah.
So like, they're nearly there.
And if you're a player, Leicester looking for you, and your agent says to you said your agent, what are they like? What's the pedigree of the club? They either go, last year they should have been Champions League, and this year they have it. They're a common team, or they go, oh, well, they should have got Champions League last year, and they probably should have got this year, and they didn't do either.
Wouldn't FA Cup though.
It's different kind of. It's a very different way to sell. It's like, they've bottled it twice, or you know what, they were thereabouts, and now they're there. They're a common team. It's a very different sell. But you can't say, they bottled it twice. You want to go there? It's like, not really. I mean, is there anybody else who's not going to bottle things?
I would say Brendan Rodgers is freaking out about that Chelsea game. You can't. That's a lot of stress.
He seems like an overthinker to me.
Well, that's what he always does. He always changes things too late in the season, or he changes things that don't need to be changed, and then books it up.
Yeah. So Arsenal they're mathematically outside of the top four, unfortunately. Even with that win against Chelsea, they're already mathematically out top. They can finish on 61, and Liverpool on 60. So I mean, they could. I'm not sure if it is mathematically possible with the games played and stuff like that. But I mean, Europa League is not beyond the realms of possibility. And I always say this: it's not just about the points; it's about how many teams are ahead of you, because that's how many teams need to fuck up. You have Everton, Spurs, and I mean, to get top six, because I think that's they'll get the FA Cup spot from there, provided Chelsea and Leicester finish in the top four. This is the mental gymnastics they're trying to do to get Arsenal to the Europa League, which I'm not even sure. Like, if you're a player coming, right? Like, if you're Arsenal, right, and you're trying to sign, where did Pepe come from? He came from Lille, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
And say Aubameyang came from Dortmund. Like, they were Europa League teams. So you having Europa League, does it add? Does it matter to you? Like, I could stay here and play Europa League. Going to Arsenal and play Europa League isn't what gets there. What gets there is the increased wages and the increased opportunity for endorsements, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Build my own brand. Like, does Europa League actually get you the players there, or is it just like a prerequisite?
Well, I think it's the Premier League that gets players more so than now, if you're in Champions League, you're going to want to go there. But I think, like, if you're like Arsenal or Tottenham and you're in the Europa League, you're like a young player in France or whatever, you might be like, well, I want to play in the Prem. That's the thing, like, rather than anything else.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. So, I mean, I don't know if like Champions League would be great, but I don't know how much of an incentive Europa League is to sign the player that Arsenal are going to get. You know what I mean? What I'm saying is, like, by Arsenal finishing Europa League and not finishing in Europa League, I think the level of player they can attract is still probably the same.
It's going to be the same, yeah.
So, is the advantage to not have games on Thursday nights?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, would you rather just skip the Europa League process and go straight to Champions League if you can? Like, if you can build a good team, in the summer, if they can keep on to the team, like it was a good performance from Arsenal against Chelsea. It did seem like that goal was coming. I think they hit the post twice in the last 90 minutes.
Man.
I was like, heart's coming out my ears.
Was it Giroud that hit the crossbar and then the ball ricocheted down? He had an open goal and he smashed it off the crossbar again.
Yeah, that would have been just perfect. Oh, I bet you shouldn't have sold Giroud now, huh? Hey? Huh? Hey? Yeah, Giroud is good. Fuck me. Like, so he missed, and that's why we sold him. Isn't because he doesn't have it. But yeah, so I don't know. Arsenal will try and make a push for it. And like I say, it's more kind of to end the season well rather than to end it on like 2 losses in a row and go, right, lads, see you next summer, or see you best luck in the Euros, lads. Yeah, fuck off our town,
man. Oh, I hope I don't see you again.
You with us 2 games ago. Yeah, you know what? We maybe have something here. It's like it's a different kind of way to end it. They've won 3 in a row now, I think.
They have the same. I think they've gotten the same points as Chelsea since December or something mental like that.
Yeah, it's a strange season in like what you forget. I mean, I remember I saw a screenshot there where on January 1st, after 16 games, Liverpool were top of the league. I was like, I did not remember that. I don't remember Liverpool being top league at any point. So the top 4, I think realistically, and not being harsh on West Ham. I mean, maybe it is being harsh, but I think their form has been patchy.
Yeah, they've missed Rice too much.
I did see a graphic that went all the way down to Everton playing Tottenham, but Everton in 8th and Tottenham West Ham. I was like, I don't know about that. I think maybe it'll be one of Liverpool, Chelsea, and Leicester to miss out.
Yeah,
But 2 of those 3 teams will make it. I don't think anyone else is going to pass out the others.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, it's all wrapped up in a nice little bow for City, and relegation is long done.
Yeah.
I suppose, Will,
Mhm.
it's probably a good time, if not a little bit late, to do our team of the year, I would say.
Are we doing one each?
Yeah, we'll do one each. We'll do one each, and then we might decide maybe if there's enough crossover, we might spend another bit trying to get a combined team. See if we can compromise on that. I doubt it, but yeah. And what we say just the Premier League, Greg. We're not counting like Champions League performances, because then we can just fucking add in Ronaldo and Messi for wherever that is.
I don't know if you saw Neville and Carragher. I think both had Foden in their teams.
I saw that too. Yeah, he only started 16 games in the Premier League. So I mean, it's hardly a. How much worse is for the outside players, like Leeds players or whatever, they don't get to play Champions League. So
yeah,
you can't really add it as a Premier League team of the year. So that's our rules, is that it's just based on the Premier League and as far back as we can remember in the Premier League, because
it's going to be very recent bias, I'd say.
As these things always are.
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes. I mean, you're talking about games that happened back in November. So who knows? Like, you want to go first, or will I go first?
Well, will we do position by position, or will we do team at a time?
Yeah, should we do position by position? Right. So who do you have in goal then?
I have.
Maybe I'll go first, and if you can think about
you
it.
go first. I don't know keeper. This is a good one.
I picked, and no, the one I was looking at, because it's. There's no standout, you know what I mean? There's no, like, usually it was like a Nick Pope or whatever, like, but there really hasn't been one. But I think one that impressed me, and who you'd be surprised, they have a 0 goal difference. This team, and to Leeds United. So I'm picking Meslier.
Yeah,
who, like, the way Leeds were playing at the start of the season, they've done very well to have that many clean sheets, to have that many that kind of goal difference. So I'm going for Meslier in goal, because I don't think there's been a standout. I know the Neville and Carragher picked Mendy, but I don't know. I don't really see that, to be honest. I think he's been good, but I mean,
I think he's just better than Kepa. That was all.
Yeah, and I think if we just, like, again, I probably pick Mendy over Meslier for a stand, but I think he's had a better year in terms of, like, what he's had to work with as a goalie. I think Meslier has been very good.
Well, mine, to be honest, mine is mostly based on fantasy football.
Well, I don't know who you're going to pick then.
Martinez for fucking
He's
Villa.
thrown some in, though.
But, like, he's got so many clean sheets for Villa near the first half of the season. He was unbelievable. He was getting like 7 or 8 saves a game and stuff like that. Kind of dipped once Grealish left or was injured, but I think for the season he's been savage. Because Villa are, like, I don't rate Tyrone Mings that much, do you?
I think he's broken the Brad Friedel's Aston Villa clean sheet record this year from the last game.
Yeah.
When they drew with Everton, that's another clean sheet for him. So he has been good. I can remember some howlers from him.
Yeah.
I remember the 2 howlers against West Ham, Jay Lings' brace, and, like, they came right at him. And he just let them in. I was like, and again, look, he's a former Arsenal man. And, he cried after winning the FA Cup and all that stuff. But, like, I just don't think. Maybe that may have been a bit unfair. Maybe he has had a good season for how good he actually is. But I'm going to go for Messi on that one. What formation are you playing? I mean, assuming we're all playing a goalie in goal, we can just skip that bit. And what's the formation you're playing besides?
I'll play 4-2-3-1.
Right, I'm gonna go 4-3-3. More, progressive European style. But that's just me, Right, so centre back, my first centre back, and I mentioned this earlier. Well, I'll go about 2. I'll do about 2 centre backs. You go do your 2 centre backs. I think one that's probably on everyone's list, Diaz, has been excellent for them. And you might say, "Oh, Champions League." Not even Champions League. I mean, he was being excellent for them. What he's done for John Stones alone should show you how good he is. At 23, I mean, he's had an excellent season. And the other one, based on the game against Liverpool, honestly, is Harry Maguire. because that's the sign of a true great player is how much they miss you. Same as, a lot of players, like when they're not there, like Zaha, another one, he isn't making the team. But I mean, when he's not there, that's the biggest sign of how good he is. So I will say an honorable mention. I was going to put Johnny Evans in ahead of Harry Maguire because Leicester have been good and he's been very good for them. I think he's been a big part of that. And he was prone to some mistakes at United, same as some of the centre backs last night.
That's why he got sold.
Yeah, and I do think he was working with maybe a not so great midfield towards the end ahead of him, so that probably helps. But I do think he's gotten better with age as well.
Yeah,
so that's an honorable mention for Johnny Evans. But I think Harry Maguire, United are second, Leicester are third. What can you say?
Yeah, I have the same back two of Diaz and Maguire.
Yeah,
just, like Maguire, I think quietly, even before the injury, he was quietly very good in nearly every game. Like it's the amount of headers he wins in the box is crazy. Like it's just constant. It's so hard to get anything over his head, which is massive, like for a game. And then his passing and stuff too helps United so much.
Yeah, I think he's just unlucky in that, like, you compare him to Van Dijk and now Diaz as well, who were bought for similar money, and like he probably isn't quite as good as them. But I think as terms of centre backs go in the Premier League, he is probably top 3 or top 5, depending on what your you might say Rudiger as well. But like, I think it's just unlucky that, why didn't you sign Van Dijk or Diaz? But I mean, I think he is a really solid addition to that United team and something they can probably build on, to be fair. So a deserving place in our coveted team of the year, or inaugural team of the year.
I'm sure he'll be thrilled to hear.
Yeah, congratulations on Mick. He's already made the combined team now as well, so I mean, fair play to him. This is where I think we might differ. Right back, I am going to go for Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
We're not different. I'm the same. Yeah.
Are you the same?
Yeah.
100%. Fair play. I think, again, not many outstanding right backs. I think Cancelo and Walker have been good, but they've been kind of interchanging. You'll see that a lot of my team where the City players, I can't give them too much credit because there's such a big squad, there's so much interchanging, where other players have had to do it kind of on their own all season. I think it's been easier. And it's not about, who I think is the better player. It's about, I think, who's had the best season in the circumstances. So I think Wan-Bissaka, and he's a great example of, like, sometimes, like, just putting your head down and doing your job well isn't enough. You have to talk yourself up and be arrogant because you're just not going to get the reward sometimes. Like, I mean, no one's talking about him. No one's telling him how good a season he's had. Like, he's 21, 22.
Yeah.
In like a famously shaky United defense, I think he's had a really good season.
Well, thinking of it now, I don't know if I should have Wan-Bissaka as right back because I'm pretty sure I'm going with Luke Shaw at left back, and there's no way 3 of United's back 4 are the team of the year.
Well, look, hey, it's your team of the year, Will. This is our podcast. Don't forget, we got no bosses, we got no sponsors, we have no pay masters. We can do what we want in this podcast. You can have the fucking whole United team and maybe Harry Kane if you want. I don't care.
This is the thing, because I definitely Luke Shaw is my left back of the year, and I would say Wan-Bissaka, but just thinking that's 3 United's back 4, and I don't think their defense has been that good all year, so I don't know how that's possible.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they have a positive goal difference, obviously, being second. I don't know how many clean sheets they've had, but I think I'm not picking like as a team or like how they. I mean, I was thinking Johnny Evans would be perfect because he's a left foot centre back, but like I think. If you think he's had a good team, or a good season, I should say. My left back differs from yours now. But my left back is different from yours. I'm going with the kind of the hipster choice. I'm going with Aaron Cresswell for West Ham.
That's a good choice. He's a great player.
You're about 5 seconds behind me. I think on the reaction, you're way behind. I just said, and you're like staring at me. I was like, oh, he hates that one. Jesus, he's not happy with Aaron Cresswell in my left back team. Oh, technical difficulty here, folks. This is so I go with Aaron Cresswell. Again, the criteria being that the games where I saw that he wasn't playing, West Ham really miss him. They have no one else down that side. Like, he's a huge part of what makes them tick. 10 assists for him from left back, which is not a bad return. I think he's great in set pieces. He's been a long time servant of them now. And again, I think you might say Luke Shaw's a better player, but I think he's had a very good year. And West Ham have had a good year on the back of it, so I'm going to give it to Cresswell. And
was he ever in the Euros power rankings?
I was looking up before when I was counting out him as left back. I was like, it's Chilwell and Shaw by default, and I was like, oh, maybe Cresswell. He's 31 now. I think he's had maybe 3 call-ups in friendlies. I don't think he's ever gone to a tournament.
That's mental.
I think he is quite small though. I think he's maybe 5'6". Again, international for set piece and stuff like that. I don't know if that maybe. I don't think.
I actually think Wan-Bissaka is quite small as well. I think he's like 5'8" or something. Maybe I'm totally wrong now, but
Yeah,
he always seems short.
I think it is probably just the top 6 bias as well. And it's you
Yeah.
never hear anything from Aaron Cresswell. You never hear him talking. I remember like who was it? The midfielder for West Ham.
Oh, Mark Noble.
Yeah, Mark Noble. Wasn't he going on a campaign there trying to get himself in the England team? And he got close enough for someone who shouldn't have been anywhere near it. Like sometimes you just have to do like if Wan-Bissaka or Cresswell had done that and put 6 performances together before a call up, you never know.
Yeah.
So, but I think Cresswell probably deserves a bit of credit, anyways. So yeah, in the middle then, who are you going with? You're going 4-2-3-1, isn't it?
4-2-3-1. I'm going
A double
with
pivot.
one of them. A double pivot.
Right.
Fernandinho,
Mhm.
one of them. Thought he's been savage. He's rolled back the years still.
Yeah.
Then beside him, see, it's kind of cheating, but I'd probably squeeze De Bruyne in as midfield.
Yeah.
Because I think De Bruyne and Fernandinho. Honorable mention to Ndidi as well. I think he's savage.
Yeah. I am going back to West Ham again, and I'm going with the man. Like you forget how good he was. Thomas Souček, probably the signing of the season, I would say.
Yeah, I was thinking
He's
him
really
as well.
propelled up the. Again, would I have if I was picking, if I got 2 transfers, if you said that you can have 2 of these players, you can have De Bruyne or you can have Souček, I'm probably going to pick De Bruyne, but I think this year De Bruyne has not had his best season. I mean, he set the bar too high for himself, which is, the trouble with a lot of great players, that when you do ridiculous numbers, the next season goes like, well, I mean, Jack Grealish has more goals and assists in a worse team playing less games than De Bruyne. Not many people know that. But, Souček has had a great season and they've really competed. So I'm putting Souček in there and I'm putting in. Wait, I'm doing 43, by the way. I'm not doing 41. So I'm doing 43. I do my 3 or.
Yeah, good trick.
Yeah. So I have Souček in there and I have Bruno Hernandez as well. Again, a player that where would United be without Bruno Hernandez?
I don't know if you saw, but he's after beating Lampard's record for most goals from midfield in Lampard's best ever season in his first full season. He's mental, like he's just crazy. And I think that was one less penalty than Lampard as well. Which he's insane.
He's been excellent. He really has. Like, I mean, I think he, and I was saying this about like that's the kind of player Arsenal need, not because of the goals, but because of his personality on the pitch, where you need someone to kind of lead you.
He is literally like. He reminds me of when you play like a FIFA career as your own player. And you're like, I'm kind of box to box, striker, defend, captain.
Honestly, he's been so good for them. I think he's definitely in the shout with the player of the year.
Yeah, 100%.
And then the City player, I said I wasn't going to give them much credit, but I think Gundogan.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Gundogan.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Cut that. You're losing credibility with the fans. You've weighed up the statistics. You've looked at all the possibilities. You know exactly what your team is. We didn't just pick this on the spot. We're not just come up with this right now.
Never even thought of him. Forgot he existed.
Well, he's City's top scorer this year. Did you know that?
Oh, I did because I had him in fantasy for a while.
But in all competitions, top scorer. Not that we're adding that in, but he's been excellent for them. And I think that run where they were unplayable, he was unplayable.
Yeah,
like the goal he scored against Spurs, like everyone knew, don't let Gundogan get the ball in the middle, and he just did, and he scored. And it was like, he's unbelievable. He's had the season of his life at Chelsea or at City by far. I think he's pretty good at Dortmund too. I think he was tipped at one stage to replace Schweinsteiger before, Schweinsteiger finished. But as it was, he's had a great year at City. I think 16 goals from midfield. I mean, it's very, very impressive. So that would be my 3 of Souček, Hernandez, and Gundogan. Honorable mention, I think, to Jack Grealish as well.
Yeah, definitely.
For like I say, more goals and assists than De Bruyne this year, and played half the games in the last team. So I mean, So you're going what 4-2-3-1?
4-2-3-1.
So who's your 3?
Yeah, so Cam is Bruno, definitely. Like Left wing, who you just mentioned there, Jack Grealish. I think he was so unlucky to get injured for as long as he did. He was unbelievable for the first half of the season. Especially, like, he had Villa up in 6th for a while, like, way up
Yeah.
there. Right wing, someone I think who's been underrated this year. And, like, weirdly, it even seems like his club don't really rate him that much. Salah.
You think Liverpool fans don't rate Salah?
No, I think Liverpool fans do. I think the club itself don't. See, he's like can't get a new contract, or like, and he's like saying in interviews, he's like, "I'm talking, but nothing's happening."
I haven't seen that. To be fair, I haven't seen that.
Oh yeah, not the fans. I'm sure the fans fucking love Salah, but like I think he's gonna win the Golden Boot. So that's unbelievable. They were not a good team this year for a long time.
Oh yeah, he's still in the race like Golden Boot. You know, I think he's right up there. Well, my three up front. I'd say your last one is it has to be Harry Kane. I mean, he's a top scorer, obviously. Tottenham haven't been doing so well, but I think he's really just found a new level in terms of like creating goals as well.
Yeah.
Like he has ridiculous the numbers he's putting this year, the goals and assists. It's for a team that's not that good.
Yeah. We said it all season that he was playing the part of better than the team.
Yeah, playing it to a T that like I'm too good for this team. It's like somebody get me out of here, and that's just the feeling you have from not having to go at Tottenham fans, but like that he is too big for that club at this point.
Yeah, definitely.
And then of course with them, you can't have Kane out Son. Start of the season, he was assisting for Kane's Son. Like his numbers are still really good as well.
Yeah.
He's had a really good season. So I'm going to put him in there as well. And then on the other side, like say Salah. Again, the numbers argument, you can't get away from it. You might say he's a selfish player, but I mean,
well, Firmino and Mane didn't do anything this season, and he still kept them going. Like it didn't affect him at all.
So I think that's going to round out my team. Who's your up front? I guess we'll never know. Yeah. We're going to have to reinvest in the hardware, folks. I think we're frozen here for a couple of times now. Maybe we'll never know. I'd say it's probably Rashford up front. No, will. Maybe Cavani. Maybe Rooney. Just for what he's done for Derby this year. I think, I put Rooney up front ahead of someone else. Who knows? I don't know if he's going to come back, folks. Maybe it's just you and me. All right, folks. Will, you still there? All right, we're going to have to wrap this up. How will I wrap this up? Usually end on a joke. Usually end on something funny. Usually because the conversation kind of peters out and we kind of get bored, so we just kind of cut off early and end on the last funny thing we said. So I don't know. Maybe just end on this. Maybe just end on me talking. Just fade out. Desperately as the pod ends. We got FA Cup this weekend, of course. Yeah, we got FA Cup. Quickly, say your number one.
Harry Kane.
Harry Kane, yes, we got it.
Oh.
Right, I mean, we should probably wrap it up, because we're not going to get much more of this. All right. So this weekend we got FA Cup, Chelsea, Leicester. I don't know. Do you rest players in the FA Cup final, or do you try and win that and forget top four? I don't know. Chelsea put all their eggs in the Champions League basket. I wouldn't do that if I was them.
No, not when you're playing City in the Champions League as well. I think that's just asking for trouble. I'd say Chelsea probably have enough to do them, even if they're playing at a bit of a canter.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're Chelsea, I think to live is to risk it all. Will you got to go FA Cup, Champions League double? We can win every single game for the rest of the year. Why the fuck not? I mean, look, if the only Chelsea and City, the only team you could probably do that with the squad they have. It's not really the same predicament as Leicester in, who, honestly, I don't know where their priority is at. I mean, for the players, you don't go for top four. Like, sure, for next year, but you want to win. You want to win the FA Cup.
Yeah.
The owners, like, put in pressure on Brendan Rodgers to get top four. They're probably saying to him, win every single game. That's what we pay you for. But, I would like to see Leicester win the FA Cup. I think they've had a good season. And if they don't get top four, I'd like to see them be rewarded in some way.
Well, I hope that I hope Leicester win the FA Cup. I hope Chelsea drop out of top 4, Liverpool get top 4, but then Chelsea win the Champions League and Liverpool miss out on the Champions League, even though they finish 4th. That's my hope.
I'm still working that one out. You lost me there halfway through all those stipulations. I mean, this is the least fun, exciting part of football. The stipulations of top 4. You have to try and work it out, and you're going on the website.
Why
looking
is
up.
it so confusing? Why isn't it just top 4 teams, Champions League, and that's it?
Yeah, I guess it's probably to give importance to the cups at some stage, because people are just like, well, forget the cups, man. That means nothing to us. If you're not going to give us anything for the cup, just like a measly €100,000 check, forget it. We got bigger fish to fry. But yeah, we'll be back. There's games again, obviously, this weekend, is there? Some games, and there's FA Cup as well. So we'll be back Monday or Tuesday for that.
Quickly before we go, did you see the big news from Turkey?
He did it. Well, I saw that. It's hard to tell with the Turkish tweet, because I have to translate them, and I don't really understand exactly. Is he on the squad?
From the translated tweet, it said Halil Akbanar, something, part of 26 squad. And it was a picture of him in the Turkey kit. So that looks
joins a training day squad or something like that.
Yeah, that looks pretty good. Surely he's
wasn't
done.
it?
Yeah.
It was something. And there's a picture of him in the Turkish uniform.
But
I don't know if it's official yet. It seems early to announce their squad. That's what I'm thinking.
But you know what made me think it's official? Did you translate some of the comments under it? Fans of other teams saying that he's not good enough for Turkey. So that made me think it's real.
He made it. He did it. Yes. Come on to the Euros. I can't wait for the Euros now. Come on, Turkey. Yes.
Honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense. Listen, I've been on that road before.
Everybody.
Nonsense. Talking nonsense. Why should we accept somebody talking nonsense? Like, what would you say? Just why are you talking nonsense about us? Why are you talking rubbish?